接下来要和大家共同分享的主题是 VR 观众收服指南。And next, we'd like to share with you the topic of winning wider audiences for VR. And we'd like to invite head of BBC VR Hub, Zila Watson. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. One of the exciting things about virtual reality at the moment is the fusion of different skills from the worlds of gaming, theatre, and today I'm going to tell you what a broadcaster can also bring to that mix. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what the BBC is, because I think it's slightly different if you come from the rest of the world, the sort of content we've made, and some of the work we've done to try and win wider audiences through both our understanding of what makes good content and also through audience research. So I know in the rest of the world, most of you know the BBC through its news output, but in the UK, we have a special place as a cultural institution in people's hearts. We're paid for by a universal license fee, and beyond news, we also have a huge number of radio services which are very well listened to, and so we're the biggest radio broadcaster in the UK. We have 6 orchestras. We run lots of events for in the community. We do a huge amount of education work as well, and we have a vast archive of radio and television to draw upon as well. We're almost 100 years old. We'll celebrate our birthday in 2022. And we have a long history of taking new technology and working out how to tell stories with it, and then how to grow and win audiences, whether that's the early days of radio back in the 1920s, or television in the 1930s and 40s. And I've drawn on the BBC's history in terms of its innovation and understanding of how to adapt storytelling to a new medium for virtual reality. I feel very like what it must have felt for the first controller of BBC television back in 1950, when you could only watch television in London and very, very few people had television sets. What they did was try and create content that would win a wider audience and please as wide an audience as possible. And they also did lots of good research to really understand how to create that content for the audience. And back in 2017, we did a really strong piece of audience research where 16 households were given virtual reality headsets. And we mapped and tried to understand what they enjoyed and what they found difficult over 3 months. And we know when they saw good VR, they loved it. And we understood very quickly that the memorability of virtual reality, the way it stays in your memory, that really was very, very strong compared with television. A 5-minute virtual reality experience could beat a 40-minute television program. But there were also a lot of problems. And so we mapped these friction problems, which started with people not knowing where to go and watch VR in their homes. They were worried about being teased by their friends. They couldn't work out how to use it because they weren't using it every day and it was complicated to use. Don't forget, this was 2 years ago and these were first-time users. They had lots of problems around content discovery. They couldn't find the right sort of things to watch. They had problems with connectivity, their Wi-Fi speeds. And they also would sometimes watch content that made them feel sick or gave them neck strain because they had to look around the whole time. And so at the end of that, if they watched something they weren't happy with, they wouldn't necessarily go back to it. Now, on the face of this all seems quite negative, but we saw all this as challenges we needed to overcome. If you go to the cinema or movie theatre to watch a movie, you have lots of friction points. You have to book tickets, you have to get on a bus or get your car and go and do it, but you're willing to do it because you know you'll have an amazing experience. And we found it was the same for VR. And what we could deliver to help this whole ecosystem develop was good content. And we wanted to develop good content that reflected everything the BBC was best at, from great journalism through to great drama. And I'd like to play this little video which shows some of the things we've tried to create. Can you start the video, please?
To see them this close up, it's a true privilege.
We're taking you on a great adventure up this magnificent river.
We have to hold on to the trolley very tight to make sure we don't fall.
Let go of the path around you, walking in heavy traffic.
I'm the doctor.
Are you ready to song around down there?
Oh, music first, yeah. Okay, Diki, press play.
So great content, but we knew we wanted to win wider audiences. We didn't want our content just shown at festivals, although of course that was important to us to gain legitimacy. So we had to make some compromises. And our biggest compromise was focusing on really good experiences for mobile VR headsets. Because we knew that if we were going to do high-end VR experiences, the number of people who'd be able to watch it, however many events we put on, was going to be limited. I should say that when we started this work, all our forecasts were based on a much bigger home market for VR headsets than, of course, has happened. So we've had to change our focus, as have many other people, and focus more on location-based experiences for the content. Let's look in more detail at the content. So the Congo VR, we worked with BBC News. We've got bureaus all around the world, and we did a 3-part series on the Congo. It took 6 weeks to film, and there's no way we could have afforded to do it as a virtual reality project alone. It was created alongside Films for News, a documentary for the BBC, and also a binaural radio project as well. But that's one of our major projects. It's proved an interesting tension between the traditional storytelling of television news, which involves a reporter standing and explaining everything to you, and what really works well in virtual reality, which is handing over that control to the audience so they can see and understand the situation for themselves. And that's created some interesting tensions within an organisation like the BBC, because we're changing what reporters do. Burn Clips is another really impressive piece that we've done, with an extraordinary piece of audio archive from a famous BBC war reporter who was on a bomber that bombed Berlin in 1943. Recreated in VR, it really brings home the atrocity of the bombing and the peril that the crew on the plane are under. And here at Sandbox, I'm really pleased we've got Doctor Who, The Runaway, which was our first really strong virtual reality drama. It's an immersive drama in which the interactivity engages you more in the story. It features Jodie Whittaker, who is the new female Doctor, and you join the Doctor for a truly impressive adventure on the TARDIS. And we've got a little film here that we can play you about the making of. It was created with passion.
I love Doctor Who's love boy, so I would just give it anything to be in the TARDIS with the Doctor and going on an adventure with her.
This is putting all our knowledge and understanding of what makes good VR together with a really brilliant team from Doctor Who and passion to create something very special.
We wanted to combine in the project the best of animation and the best of VR.
The viewers are going to enjoy a lot to actually take part in this adventure together with the Doctor.
although we knew the BBC would be bringing their own scriptwriters on this, we had to come up with the kind of concept and the theme of what that VR experience would be. We came up with, had to be, set in the TARDIS, the big hook was 5 minutes with the Doctor.
So the Doctor is shadowing some kind of a very cute and deadly alien creature, and at the same time you, the viewer, you got a nasty knot on the head and you wake up in this mess. The whole film is actually a long shot and it's fully happening inside the TARDIS.
As we always do with characters, we start with drawings. Then when we are happy with the character, we put it in 3D.
It's been important to everyone, making it feel like it belongs in the same family that works as a show.
We actually pitched with quite a classic cel-shaded animating book. I think this is the one where we got to the idea of Jodie as an animated character that felt like her.
We've witnessed when people take part in this VR adventure that as soon as they put the headsets on, they step into the Doctor Who world.
Spot that bring down and destroy anyone or anything that threatens the stability of the universe.
They soon forget it's animated.
Very valuable. Don't forget.
Translating should not strip away things from the show, it should bring something new.
Obviously what Passion is great at is that character animation performance, and that's at the heart of this, and it's really what drives it.
So basically I've been Doctor Who. We're both acting for VR. We have this freedom. Especially for this part, it's very physical. So you have to be really expressive with your body.
There is this rhythm inside the show that we love to mimic, and I think it's working very well.
From a pacing point of view and just an animation point of view, everything happens a bit breakneck speed.
It's very funny to direct something where there's an explosion every 3 minutes.
It just feels like it works, but underneath that is complexity. Into the mix involved went brilliant animation, brilliant artwork, a great script, great acting, great mocap performance, great music, great sound. And what was amazing about Passion was they had that strong aim of doing something really outstanding throughout.
Every project I do is this, there's something in it that is hard, but we'll make it awesome. And that's kind of why we got such.
We're trying to achieve this feeling of presence, where the viewer is actually part of the story, and I think this is going to be a very unique feeling when you see the experience in the end.
And I'll be able to talk a little bit more about the adaptation process of that tomorrow, the adaptation panel. But next I'm just going to talk to you briefly, that's Doctor Who, about Nothing to Be Written, which is also featured here, which is a completely extraordinary piece. It would only be possible with the BBC, because the BBC has its own orchestra and very world-famous season of concerts each year at the Albert Hall in London. So this is Nothing to Be Written, which is based on a piece of music written to commemorate 100 years of the end of the First World War, and it takes its theme from these postcards that were sent by soldiers, and they were to avoid any need for censorship. It meant that many millions of these could be sent home. They're like texts to your mum saying, I'm okay. And the piece was written by a British composer called Anna Meredith, and the virtual reality was conceived by 59 Productions as the music was written. They were designed to work together, but they also created an extraordinary, again, to work with the music, an extraordinary scene that was projected inside and outside the Albert Hall in London. So it was a very special occasion. There were 5 movements to the whole piece of music, which is called 5 Telegrams. But with one of the movements, Nothing to Be Written, we created a beautiful VR experience. And we wanted again to have a piece that could be enjoyed by lots and lots of people. So we had the first BBC virtual reality prom in London. We wanted to get 500 people in headsets. That proved too difficult, but we did have 50 people in headsets every 15 minutes, so we got lots of people through the experience, from 13-year-olds to 90-year-olds, and it was a very successful evening. And I've got a little video again about this. We've tried wherever possible to get these VR pieces featured on BBC television, again to excite a wider audience, even if they don't get a chance to see it.
It's 100 years since the end of the First World War, which makes this Remembrance Sunday an even more poignant and special day. One of the many commemorations taking place around Commonwealth nations is being tested here at the Royal Chelsea Hospital, a retirement home for British Army veterans. It's called Nothing to Be Written, and it's an immersive VR experience based around the sending and receiving of the so-called field postcards that soldiers wrote during the Great War.
It has sort of parallels to text messages that people can send out, that thing where there isn't a lot of message that you can put into it, you can't tell the stories, but it's just a connection to say, I'm okay, I'm thinking of you, and I thought that was really beautiful.
A century after the end of the supposed war to end all wars, this is a highly emotive insight into what it was like both at home and in the trenches. There are no visuals here of the brutality of war. These guys have already seen too much of that.
Absolutely incredible choice, isn't it? And it feels cold. The sun has come out bright. This is absolutely amazing. What I like about where it is until we got this session is the fact that I've looked up and looked at the sky. Colours of the sky, I thought that was brilliant. You're there in the trenches.
What they did is what they wanted to do, and that is to protect the country.
Yeah.
Many of them lost their lives. And I hope it's got to people now these days what it was all about. Very emotional. Because I was with them.
I just want to finish that thought by saying that everybody here, of course, is excited by the amazing technology we can use to create VR experiences. But it doesn't have to be fixed off to create a strong emotional effect. And so if you want to get to audiences now, and we should, because there should be one stream of work that gets the wider public excited now, it is possible to design really beautiful, moving and memorable experiences still for mobile headsets. So how are we going to get this to an audience? Well, we've talked about festivals and awards. We've tried to get as much press attention as we can for things. We've obviously got marketing on stores where we've released the VR on third-party stores. We've run our own launch events. We've worked with museums. The Berlin Blitz has been at the Imperial War Museum and a Canadian Air Force Museum. But it's been difficult, and it's been difficult because taking VR out and about at events is still expensive. You've got to think about marketing, ticketing, staffing, and the space it's going to take place in, and it's not straightforward. So one of the things we've tried to do to try and create a model, again, that we as a national broadcaster could work on, is a pop-up program in libraries this summer. So we started a trial with 30 libraries. It's already grown to 120. We're only halfway through, but the feedback and the audience research we're getting back from this is so phenomenal that 6 weeks into this trial, I feel really confident to now present to you a little bit about it. We've had an incredibly low-cost model where we sent about 50 Go headsets from library to library. We've kept it very content-focused. For the first month, people have seen Congo VR, the second month Doctor Who, and the third month Berlin Blitz. And libraries have both a space that they can use to present VR, librarians have time to show it, and it's proved a really trusted space. I think a lot of people who've been slightly worried about trying virtual reality because they might look stupid with their headset and a box on their head, have felt the library is a comfortable space. And if you've got young children, you don't mind them running around in the library. You're not worried about them getting lost or something taken away. And also librarians have provided a really strong human touch. They've made people feel confident. I'm very aware that when you go to a festival, the fact that somebody really good puts the headset on you, sets you up, tells you what's going to happen, and then takes that headset off and says, how was that? Is very important to your enjoyment of VR and to the memories you take away. And librarians have done that for us. It's required minimal staffing on our part. It's been run by one person, and we have got to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people already through this, and they all love the VR. I personally thought some VR projects would do better than others. I'm astonished by how much delight there has been expressed about the Congo VR series, which I thought was a harder thing to sell to the general public, but people are being transported to a place they'll never be able to visit in a strong story format, and they have found it moving and utterly memorable. We've had some extraordinary tweets and feedback and great social media amplification. One of my favourite tweets was a woman who said, I haven't been able to leave Nottingham for 5 years and I've just visited the Congo. So we'll write a full report and share this in a couple of months' time. But we think it's been a really useful way to show wider audiences a little bit of the magic of virtual reality. And through doing this, we've reduced many of these friction points that we've identified. We've made it easy for people to go and enjoy VR and have a great time. So our tips for winning wider audiences. Unfortunately, it does mean compromising a little bit on the complexity and the interactions to create content that can be shown more easily on mobile VR headsets. Hopefully the Quest will enable more exciting and engaging experiences too. Definitely think about your audience and how you're going to present it to them before you even start thinking about the project. That has to come first. Strong storytelling, and that's what all these projects have in common, has enabled us to break through and probably enabled us to get away more without using fixed off and more advanced technology and simple interactions. And my other strongest message to everyone is that the creation of the content is only part of what your life needs to go on. You need to save lots of money for taking it out and about, for ensuring that the audience gets to enjoy that, whether it's through festivals or events you run. It doesn't stop with the creation of the content. So thank you very much for hearing me this afternoon, and please think about the audience today as well as creating extraordinary experiences that the audience of tomorrow will be able to enjoy too. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And now let's move on.